What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Force here, and today we'll be taking a look at Worms Revolution. This is a 2.5D turn-based tactics game that marks the return and modernization of the Worms series. Here in this video, we'll be going over the basics of the game, which will include me showing you some gameplay, talking about the various features, and giving you my general thoughts and impressions on the title. And before we hop into any actual gameplay, I do actually want to take some time to show you all of the different options that you have in this game, because there's actually quite a few. I was actually impressed when I came to find out how many things that you could do in Worms Revolution. Starting off with the single player, there are two modes. You can play through the campaign or the puzzles. The campaign is essentially a drawn out tutorial. It helps go over all of the weapons, items, and different combat tactics in the game. You do this over the course of, I guess, what I'll call 4 acts, and you progressively learn about the different classes in the game, which there are 4, the different weapons and items, and again, some of the various things you can do in combat. The puzzles are pretty much what you would expect them to be. You're put in a particular situation, and you either have a limited amount of ammo or time or health, and you have to get your way through to the end. In doing so, while playing through the campaign and puzzles, you also unlock a currency to help purchase worms for additional play in the versus and competitive mode. Heading back out now, we'll take a look at the versus options. Within versus, you have the options between deathmatch, forts, and classic. Now, deathmatch and classic are the same, with the exception that in classic you only have the basic worm type, which is essentially the soldier, and in deathmatch you can play with the 4 classes. Now, Worms Revolution did introduce classes to the game. There is the soldier, the scientist, the tank, and the scout. Each class has its strengths and weaknesses. However, if you played prior Worms games and you're not really interested in dealing with the classes, you can just play the classic mode. There's also forts, where there are 2 forts for either team, or I suppose depending on the number of teams that you have, there are forts for either team, and you have to, kill all the enemy worms. I mean, that's essentially all this game boils down to, is kill all the enemy worms, but just in different variants. Beyond that, there's also an online multiplayer. Now, within online multiplayer, you've got a quick match, ranked match, and player match, where you can play against particular friends of yours, or I suppose enemies of yours. The unfortunate thing, though, so far is that I haven't found a game at all. I'm not going to actually, we're going to hit quick match here just to show you. Every single time I've tried, there's been no matches found, so it doesn't look like a lot of people are doing the quick match option, unfortunately, which means that unless you have friends you want to play with, it might be difficult to find some online play. But the single player play is a lot of fun, and we can take a look at that right now. I'm not going to go through the campaign or the puzzles yet. I just want to show you some basic gameplay in versus, and we can actually do that in the classic mode before anything else. You are then brought up to this menu, in which you can select your team. Now, I'm only going to be playing as the one particular class, which is basically the soldier class, because this is classic mode, and we will add 1 enemy opponent. When choosing an enemy opponent, you can either clone yourself, or you can choose different types that you might want to go against. You can choose fodder, bullet, bait grunts, or bruisers. I guess we'll just go with some grunts for the enemy AI. Now, you can have up to 3 opponents, so that means, of course, there can be up to 4 players in a particular game. For the sake of brevity, though, and wanting to actually complete this, what am I doing here? And wanting to actually complete this video sometime in a relatively soon manner, we're just going to go with 1 opponent. I think that's going to make the most sense. Beyond that, you can also choose the game settings. Within these settings, you can choose between the difficulty, beginner, intermediate, and pro. There's also different game types: the Choppery game type, bazooka and grenade, the dark side game type, and then the destruction game type. Now, these game types, they're sort of just different variants and different twists on the basic game mode. Chopper, you're going to get a lot of extra items in the game. Bazookas and grenades are bazookas and grenades. And then there's also dark side and destruction. Destruction's lots of explosives. Dark side's sort of the sneakiness, a little bit of stealth action using things like turrets and stuff like that. All right, we're just going to go with an intermediate opponent. We're going to set the round time to 10 minutes at most. The turn time, this will actually determine how boring you might find this game. I was by default playing at the 60-second turn time, and I was getting very frustrated with just how long matches were taken. So I was thinking somewhere around 45 seconds might be a little bit better, and we will do a randomized map as well. Yeah, let's go ahead and do a randomized map, and then we hit start. Alright, here we go with some Worms Revolution, taking a look at the classic game mode on a randomized map. Alright, looks like we are chilling out here on the farm. I think there's 4 different location types. There's like farm, seaside, and sewers and something else. I can't even remember what it is. All right, so each team has 4 worms. At the start of a match, the first person is randomly selected, and beyond that first person being randomly selected, a worm is randomly selected. Within the set time per move is what I'll call it, you get a certain amount of time. So I had 45 seconds, that's what we set this to. So I've got 45 seconds to move my worm around, pick a action, and then perform that action. Now my opponent's worm is sitting right here, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to Dragon Ball punch him over the edge. You bring up this inventory by hitting right shift, you select an item by hitting, there you go, enter, and then we hit spacebar to perform it. And we just punched him over the edge into the water, and as you know, worms, they don't like water. I guess you know that. You know it now because I just told you that. All right, so now it goes over to my opponent's turn. One of his worms are randomly selected. And then once that first worm is selected, it just goes from one to the next to the next to the next. It's gonna fire a rocket at me. And misses, which makes me quite happy. So now we switch to my turn, and it will be a new worm. It'll be this worm right here. I'm gonna pick up one of these crates. You have crates with random things, such as homing missiles, for example, random inventory items. And let's see what I'd like to do against him. I think I would like to launch a bazooka. So we're gonna grab this bazooka here, and we will launch it off. Now, before I do that, let me just quickly explain this to you. Now, the ones that are highlighted in orange on the left-hand side, these are basically the offensive ones, damage dealing and stuff like this. The right-hand side are mobility as well as utility types. Okay, so I'm gonna grab that, do the bazooka. We're gonna charge it up, fire, and he takes some damage. He takes 45. I took 3 damage, a little bit of a kickback there from that. I was a little too close to that explosion, unfortunately. And then now it's his turn, and we go back and forth and back and forth. Right down there on the bottom, that's going to display the number of worms and their relative health that they have. Give me a good idea of how you're doing overall in the match. Wow, another complete miss for the Grunts AI, which makes me happy. It's my turn now. Unfortunately, I'm all the way down here. This would be kind of a rough situation. So what I'm going to want to do is grab a transport item. Now let me try for the jetpack, and we're going to go ahead and hold down spacebar, which will launch us up. And I messed that up. Okay. I hit spacebar a second time, which unfortunately deactivates the jetpacks, which resulted in me just landing and taking 20 damage. Super fail. So yeah, it's the back and forth gameplay. It's the worms gameplay that if you'd played in the past, that you'd come to know and love. With the addition of, you know, some new weapons and items, and obviously the game looks a little bit better. Nice new presentation. All right, so I need to get myself out of here if at all possible. Let me see if I can do it in this manner. We've got a few different options. Don't want to do that, don't want to do that. Let me try for the ninja rope. I'm gonna try to aim it right up here. Let's see if we can get ourselves up there. There we go. And is it gonna make it? No, it's not. Another transport fail. It'll happen. I take some damage, it's now his turn. Item randomly gets warped in. So there'll be different items that you'll pick up and it'll go into your inventory. There'll also be health packs as well. Various things on the map such as explosives or objects. Another miss with that long range missile. Gotta love it. Alright, so I'm all the way over here, quite far away from anyone else. And I think the best thing for me to do at this particular position would be go for a teleport. I can select the teleport and move on over to another position. And I think somewhere like up here would be really good. So let's go right there. So it is right shift to bring up your inventory. It is enter to select an item in your inventory, and space bar to use an item. Of course, the second I leave that area, some coins drop down. Coins, which are also collected in the single-player campaign and puzzle modes, are used to purchase new worms for the multiplayer modes. Right, so we got a rocket here. That one, again, missed. Willard. Oh, Willard. All right. It's my turn. I think it'll be my guy right down on the lower. There he is. Ready to rock. Now, you have to be really careful while you're moving with your worms, because if you take damage while moving, that is it. Your turn is over. And that's a real concern. What I'm going to do here is we're going to actually try for the shotgun. Missed with the second shot, which is unfortunate. Because that may have killed him if I hit with the second shot too. And I actually think he's probably going to get the kill here. He just has to get off 52 damage. Now, I've tried with the more opponents. Unfortunately, I just found it kind of boring because sometimes the opponent AI can take a fair amount of time. And when you have, besides this one opponent, when you have 2 additional opponents, it's like, this is getting really boring, you know, because you have to wait for them to do their turns, and I just personally didn't enjoy it. All right, so clearly me getting out of this pit has proved to be difficult. I'm going to go with the easy route here and grab a teleport. And I'm going to place him right here so I can also get that item within this turn. Let's see what this is all about here. A wrench, okay. Overall, I'm doing okay. I do have all 4 of my worms, and he's down to the 3. I'm going to start bombarding these guys over here in a moment. So this environment is randomly generated. If you recall at the beginning, I did select random maps. You can customize these maps. You can actually also build your own maps, which we'll take a look at once this is all done. And he falls and takes some hefty damage. Ugh, gosh. And of course it's this worm's turn. What the heck am I gonna do with this? Now you can move the camera around. You can do this with the number pad, or you can do it with the mouse, scrolling out with mouse wheel. I give myself a little bit better vision and bring this up, and I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do here. I don't have teleport anymore. I guess I could try, I don't know, what the heck. Let me try the ninja rope. This failed last time, but maybe it'll work this time. I don't think it will. I really doubt it. All right. Let's see here. Nope. Not even gonna, can't even reach. There we go. Come on. Get it. No! Super bad. I can't get out of this damn pit. I might as well just start drilling my way through. I really didn't want to do that. It just takes so many turns, but evidently I don't have another option. I might lose him. No, 35 damage. All right. That's a bummer. Now, I do wish I had some more time here to kind of show you guys all the various things in the inventory, but you can see with the limited time, as you can imagine, it makes that all kind of difficult. Let's see what we got here. I can call down an airstrike. I also call down a bunker blaster. Let's do that one. I'm gonna call that down right here. Right on top of these idiots. And here it goes. Oh yeah. Knocked one guy in the water. Did some decent damage to the other guy. And now he's gonna kill off my guy who's down there, unfortunately enough. Really nothing that I can do about that. My worms are in an awful position, to be honest with you. Yeah, there's a grenade. Why is he coming towards it? What? Okay. That's funny. Are you kidding me? He killed himself. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I can't attest to that. So why that happened. So I get this worm over here. I guess I'll just get this item. Teleshield, okay. Let's see. God damn it. What are you doing? You stupid worm, forget it. Alright, let's see what I have here. I don't have a lot of blowtorches, so I don't really want to use that here. I have no idea. I have no idea. Maybe I'll just place down the teleshield. Okay. I'm not sure what he's doing here. Okay. So teleshield allowed me to swap there and actually move him for that particular turn. Got a health packet up there, which is really good, barring that I don't end up losing this guy to a missile right here. It'll be close. So there's all sorts of different things. There's explosives, there are bats, there are punches, there are homing missiles, there are airstrikes. You can use water guns to drown worms. When worms are in water, they take damage over time. I just lost that health pack. Thanks a lot, dude. Yeah, so all sorts of different weapon types. And I just ended up losing that worm as well. Now he is just down to this one last worm, so maybe with some airstrike action I can actually do something here, but... Or do I want to save the airstrike for my next worm? The sheep and mole, I can throw those guys and have them explode. And also kamikaze, I can throw down mines. We can do homing missiles. Let's do a homing missile for this one. So the homing missile is gonna go on him. And we're gonna just fire this up here. And it should just tail right back around to get to him. There we go. Beautiful. So we take some damage from that. How much will that be? Enough to kill him.
Oh dear, the premier Irish
And that's a win. Excellent.
Let's get back to his 40 horses.
Alright, so you can see a little bit of statistics here to wrap it up. Most enemy worms killed. Friendly enemy worms killed. Damage dealt to enemies. We took the overall victory. Stats continue to go down. A few more things here. Now we're going to go ahead and go back to the main menu to show you some more things here in this game. So that was just a classic game against one group of intermediate AI. There's, again, we can go through the round times and the turn times and all those sorts of things. We can randomize the map. We cannot randomize the map. Now I'm going to go to an unrandomized map, but I want to do this here in a different mode just to show you what else is available. Let's go ahead and next take a look at the deathmatch. In every aspect, this is just like Classic with the one exception of the classes. You can take a look here. I've got my makeup of classes. I actually have one of each is the way this is working here. My soldier guy right here, this would believe this is the scout, this is the tank, and this guy right here is the scientist. So they all have their different abilities, and we can talk about those once we get in. And I'm actually going to extend the round time. I'll keep the rounds up. The turn time I want to extend. I'm going to extend it to 90 seconds just so I can have more time to explain some things for you. We're also going to have randomized maps off. I don't want to do that. And we can play against a mix of opponents as well. But just against the one, I don't feel like waiting all those turns for additional groups of worms. But if you feel like doing that, you can. You can, again, play up to 3 other opponents. So we're going to keep the randomized map off. And what's going to happen is before we get kicked into the game, we get brought up to a map generation screen. So here in the map generation screen, you've got all sorts of options. You can choose right here. You can see the theme for your landscape, the landscape template, as well as objects to place in your landscape. So there's 4 themes: sewer, beach, spooky, and farmyard. I think the one I couldn't think of was spooky before, but yeah, there are 4 themes that you can play with, and depending on the theme that you pick, it's gonna change sort of the general look of your map. As you can see, there's beach, here's some spooky, and then here is the farm. Now those 4 had the same physical terrain type, but you can alter the way it looks. You can go with like a cavern style, you can go with a 2 cavern style, you can go with 2 islands. I kind of like the 2 cavern style. I think that's pretty neat. There you go. And then beyond that, you can also decide how many barrels you want on the map. Few, some, lots. Barrels are explosive. I'm going to go with lots. You can also decide how many mines are in the map. That's interesting. Throw some objects down there. Throw some water on the bottom level, which I do like to keep on. Add that extra hazard. And let's go like that. Okay, so that is that side if you want to quickly kind of customize a map. There's also a map generator or a map builder that you can do, and once you have built a map, you can load in a saved map that you have. You can also just do a completely randomization, randomize all landscape settings, or randomize the landscape using the current settings. We're going to stick with this though. I guess this looks like a good one, and we'll hit continue. So the difference, again, between the last one that we looked at, which was classic, and this one, is that here we are going to be able to take a look at the classes. Now there are 4 class types, again, the soldier, the scientist, the tank, and the scout. The soldier is the most like the original Worms. It's sort of like the all-around, he's the all-around American hero. He's the all-around basic guy here. He does, moderate damage, he's got moderate speed. We've got some guy right here. Let's like to try to knock him back. I don't want to hit my guy right there, so we might go with a punch. Or you know what we can go with? Let's go ahead and bring this up, and why don't we go with a baseball bat? Let's see if we can get him to that mine there. Not quite. Oh yes, we got him close enough. Mine's gonna explode, and he takes some damage. And actually, the guy up above him took some damage too. That worked out perfectly for me. All right, so the soldier is the basic. It's pretty much the worm that you would recognize from the older Worms series. It's the all-around. Now the scientist, he's actually a support and defense-oriented class. He's got the ability to regenerate 5 hit points to all of his allies every single turn. So if you're stuck in water or poison, normally you would take 5 damage a turn, but having the scientist in your group helps to offset that. That was a lot of damage there that we just took. That's unfortunate for me. The tank is what you think it is. He's the brawler. He's the slowest, but he does a lot of damage. We got Marvin over here. Now this fall is going to be pretty dangerous. I got to be careful because I don't want to take too much damage. I wonder if there's anything I could do from this position. Not really. All right, so we're going to try to see if we can do this without taking damage. There we go. Perfect. This is my scout. He's the fastest. He's also, as a result, the weakest. Not doing a lot of damage. I'm gonna move down here. All right, so that's my opponents are all over here. So let's go ahead and make our way across. And luckily, since we have that increased time, I can make this trip without worrying too much about running out of time or anything like that. Okay, so we got this over here. I'm gonna eke my way to the edge. I will look down there, and why don't we just drop a grenade, and then I'm gonna piece out of my current location. So we're gonna go up to grenade. Now let me do the cluster bomb just to show you. This isn't quite as good in terms of damage as the other one, but we're just gonna throw this down a little bit, and then I'm gonna move all the way over here just to try to get out of the way. And we did some damage to both those guys, or just the one? Did that guy not take any damage? Are you kidding me? Why is he still at 100 health? I'm annoyed. I am severely annoyed by that. So yeah, four class types. It makes this game a little more interesting, I would say. I think it certainly adds that dynamic. But playing in the classic mode isn't bad if you don't feel like dealing with all these extra things, you know. But I like that. I like that they added diversity in this. I think that is most certainly a good thing. Okay, so we got this guy right here. Here's my tank. He is super slow, but oh boy, is he powerful. So I'm gonna make my way across. Try not to take damage from falling. And then I'm gonna hurt this thing. This guy right here, I'm gonna hurt him. Guys ready? All right, let me see what I can do here. I'm gonna do a punch, I think. So I can do the fire punch, I can do the Dragon Ball. I'm gonna go with the Dragon Ball, knock him back a little bit. 3 damage, are you kidding me? 38 damage, okay. I was kidding, myself. Myself was kidding, I was kid. Just joshing you. Okay. Some more items getting warped in. And he's got a guy all the way over here. He will not be able to be that effective from that position. He's probably going to use a move ability just to get out of where he currently is, it seems most likely. Seems to be the most likely scenario. He's throwing a grenade. Is it really gonna get to me? That is some... Guy deserves a round of applause. That was mighty impressive, I must admit. Okay, so it's my scientist's turn. You see everyone got a little bit of health there. And what I'm gonna do with the scientist here is I'm gonna go and grab the jetpack so I can maneuver him into this position. And I still have the opportunity now to do an ability. Some maneuver abilities don't use your use for the turn. But if, like for example, teleport, if I teleport, that's it. I can't do anything else beyond that. But with what I just did, I can do more. Let me see here. He is right down there. I don't know what I can, maybe, do I have a homing missile here? Here we go. Let's go ahead and do that. He's at such a weird angle that was fail. Oh, never mind, that was win. I totally planned that. No, that worked out perfectly though. This game is pretty fun. I'd have to admit, I have found that I do enjoy it. I think the multiplayer could be a heck of a lot of fun. It's really disappointing how difficult it is to find multiplayer matches. I've probably tried about 10 different times, and not once have I been able to actually get a match going. This might kill me here. 35 damage. Okay, not quite enough to kill me, but I'm also in the water, so I might take 5 damage the next turn there. All right, let me see where everyone's at. He has people up there, and that is basically it. Interesting. What am I gonna do at this position? What do I have? UFO, I don't even know what that does. Guess I can't do it here. And maybe that abducts people, I don't know. I know what telekinesis does, that moves. I could go for a, oh, I still have more jetpacks. All right, well, why don't I just jetpack it up then? Let me just take a look at a good, I guess I could try to go up there and move my way around. All right, I'm gonna jetpack it up here. If I hit spacebar again, it's gonna cancel my jetpack, so I just have to be careful not to do that. And let me try also, I wonder if I can also throw the ninja rope down as well without skipping my turn. I'm not certain about that though. Okay. That was stupid. Ninja rope, I don't know. It's kind of a little finicky. That did not work, and I took damage from the fall, so I passed the turn. Whoop-de-doo. Well, with this guy's killer arm from throwing grenades, I'm probably just gonna lose to him tossing grenades down below. It's been absurd. He is actually just teleporting, which is odd. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Another reason I wish I could play human opponents, because a human would never do that. He could have just moved to that spot. There was no reason for him to, you know what I mean? There was absolutely no reason for that to occur. So that's really weird that he decided to do that. All right. I think I should be able to make the jump here. Yeah. Got a mine there. And we are going to go ahead and do a jetpack. Okay. Get this thing. More mine. And then try to do some damage to him. I think what we will do, water bomb will drown some people in water, but he's not really in the position to be too threatened by that. Could I go with the shotgun here from that? That's not really going to be the best option from this position. Let's see if I can do this UFO thing yet. Can I? No. Yeah, I must need. It must be because I'm in like a little aquarium thing here. All right, let's see. There it is. And he lands in the water, which means he's going to be taking some damage. Got some new weapon crates spawning in. And then it is his turn. So yeah, this game is pretty cool. If you like Worms games, I think you'll really like this. And the funny thing is, I still have more to show you. There's a lot of customization that I want to take a look at once we go ahead and finish up this match. Although, do I really even have to just sit here and finish this up? I don't really think that that's going to be necessary. I mean, I guess you guys kind of get the idea of how this whole thing works, right? I just lost that guy, so that's cool. Yeah, I think rather than just finishing this up, I'd rather spend some time showing you the other game modes. I do have an advantage right now, but it's probably just going to take another 10 minutes, so let's not even bother. Although, is the time limit? What is my time limit set to?
Ready for action.
It's another 2 minutes left. And then it would go to sudden death, and then the water would start rising. Is basically what would happen. I'm just gonna leave. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other stuff available in this game. I'd like to briefly show you what the forts thing is all about, so why don't we go ahead and do that. Go back here. I'll take a look at forts briefly. We'll just do this for a couple of turns just to kind of show you what it is. Play against a mix of opponents. And we can set this to all sorts of stuff. Why don't I set it to shopper? We'll see what that is in a second here. turn time to 90 seconds. I keep skipping it. There it is. And, okay. So, forts. Forts. Forts are what you think forts are. You're in a fort. And you have to kill your opponent who's in their fort.
That's my scrum.
Okay. So, forts. Let's see if I can get myself over here to the edge. I'll go ahead and move the screen over, take a look. Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to hit anyone with that. I could try for a homing missile on that guy. That would be really hard to hit, though. I don't think that seems likely at all. Well, you can see very, very low on items. Now what's going to happen in this particular game mode is you really rely on the items that are warped in.
What you doing?
It's really what you got to focus on. I really don't have a lot going on here. I don't really see what I could do either. I don't think the ninja rope is going to be far enough.
You alright, pal?
I could try a homing missile. I don't see that connecting though. That's a jetpack I could do too. Why don't I go with the jetpack? All right, here we go.
What you doing?
Okay.
It's okay.
Got some coins. And then, let's get this guy here. With that. And get out of the way.
That's just for starters.
You know, the worms do speak as well. You can also, just beyond them speaking, you can choose their different dialogue choices. You can also customize things like their hats, or give them mustaches, which is what my guys have, which is pretty cool. And he just passed the turn rather than attempting to do something, which really baffles me, to be honest. All right. Here we have got my scout. I'm in a jetpack again. Let's see how far I can get with this. Come on. Stop failing. Okay. So, let's see if I can knock this guy over the edge with a bat. I don't have a bat. Let's see how far the punch will move him. Punch actually knocks him up in the air. I wonder if the poke is strong enough. I don't think it is. Nope. Well, there you go. So we'll just continue to go back and forth here, back and forth. Lots of coins get dropped, which makes this a good game type as well if you're looking to pick up some currency to unlock some things. And that's that. I don't think you need to see any more of that either. Alright, so we did take a quick look at all of the various versus modes, which, just once again to recap, is the Deathmatch, Forts, and Classic. Of course, the online multiplayer, which we don't really have. I do want to quickly show you the challenges before we leave the game, the puzzles before we leave the game. The campaign, there's really no reason for me to show it to you. It is narrated, but it's essentially just a drawn-out tutorial. That is really basically all it is. What I do want to show you though is the customization, because this game has actually a fair amount of it. So you can go into My Worms, and this is where you use the credits that you pick up in-game to purchase various worm types. Right now I have 4, well, let me show you just here. I've got 1 scientist, 1 scout, 1 heavy, and 4 soldiers. So I can use the credits that I have to purchase additional scientists or scouts, depending on what kind of team I want to make up. And you can see each additional unit type cost more credits than the prior one. So let me buy another scientist just to show you. It cost like 160 before, and now it costs 240. And also when you get these things, when you purchase these things, you also unlock additional items. Now, speaking of the items, let's go back. So first of all, my formations. The formations are going to be the different compositions of the classes in the game. So I've got a mix with one of each. I also have one with all soldiers. I can make another one now that has 2 scientists and maybe a bruiser and a soldier, or 2 soldiers. That's what I could do. Or a scout and something, you know? I'm gonna go back again. And now look at the uniforms. So here comes, you can customize the accessories, trinkets, gravestones, victory dance, sound bank, and the fort type that you want to have. So accessories, now I currently have the red mustache because it is the classiest, but there's all sorts of things that you can do. Different types of mustaches, we've got different sunglasses, you can go all stealthy here. You can be all super cool. Get yourself some hats here as well. You can't have 2, you only get to pick 1 of each thing, but you can, that looks good. That looks good, we're gonna stick with that. The accessories, the trinkets. Trinkets are items that your character will the worms will just play around with while they're just sitting idly by. I currently have the teddy bear. I guess we can match the new haircut theme though with a cupcake. And you can select the gravestone type that you want. There's just a few options here. So yeah, just a little bit of flavorful stuff, you know, it's not game breaking, it's not gonna make someone want to purchase the game over not purchasing the game. That really, whether or not you're going to enjoy this game is gonna come down to whether or not you enjoy the turn-based tactics type of Worm gameplay. If you enjoyed Worms when you played it, you know, back when you were younger, then you're probably really gonna enjoy this because there are a lot of options. You can choose the different, the way your worms sound when they're talking in game. There's all sorts of stuff.
Capiche? Watcha? Alas, alack. That sealed the game.
It's pretty interesting, you know? It's kind of cool. I don't know. I don't think this is a bad game, I really don't. I think it tests my patience a little bit. I think that I prefer something a little bit more quicker paced. I couldn't even fathom trying to play 3 or 4 player games for an extended period of time. I think that would drive me nuts. Let's go ahead and wrap it up though by just taking a look at some of the puzzles here. So the puzzles, once more, you're gonna just be put in a given situation and you just have to find your way through it.
You're limbering up. I prefer to limbo up, but there's no stick and no tie. Now this fella I do like. He's got spirit and bravado, and I want him dead. No one taunts me like that. An obstacle. Remember your wildlife equations. Obstacle plus negotiation equals solution. Quite literally the pits. What possible use could a weapons crate be in a war zone? Work it out, man. You're looking focused, fit, and ready for action. And I will say that at your funeral. Good luck, soldier.
So that cheesy narrator is the same one that you find in the campaign as well. I just love to say random stuff. So yeah, this is the very first one in the puzzles. Very simple. You're presented with an obstacle. Check what's in your inventory. Try to figure out if you can get through without using any items. If you can, you're basically given a set amount of things that you can do to get through a situation.
Superb. Take time out to gloat. Time's up. I have dire news. The weapons at your disposal won't bring this brute down. He's tough and I got the weapons cheap. Do I care? I almost do, so you need to find a way of inflicting extra death on this guy.
And he'll just narrate you from point to point. I mean, the obstacles have been fairly simple of what I've played so far. I think over time, as you would expect, it gets progressively more difficult, but I mean, it's pretty obvious what I had to do there, right? And that's the kind of thing that you have. And that's gonna wrap up this video. That has been a look at the basics of Worms Revolution. Oh gosh, I'm trying to exit. Don't ruin my outro. I hate you, narrator.
Welcome home.
No, stop talking. Please. That has been a look at the basics of Worms Revolution. The 2.5D turn-based tactics game marks the return and modernization of the Worms series. If you like Worms gameplay, definitely give this a look. There are a lot of options between the single-player campaign and puzzles mode, the versus modes between the Deathmatch, Force, and Classic, and then multiplayer if you can find someone to play with. There's certainly plenty of content here to enjoy, and obviously with the map customization and the ability to make maps, you really have, there's a lot of stuff you could do. You could buy yourself a lot of time with this game. It's only $15 on Steam right now. If this is something that you would like, go ahead and give it a look. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude our look at the basics of Worms Revolution. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Keep watching and keep owning.